5 to go. Cendric, Bell, Larson's the top 3. Here comes Bell.
Did not see him all day. That was kind of a surprise.
Man, who knew Bell had a good car?
There goes
here
the
comes
21
Cendric.
like he's gone.
There comes the line on the
Oh,
outside.
my word. They're touching way more than before.
Ross in the middle. Oh, dear.
Oh, watch that. It's going to be like 3-4 there.
Barry almost just wrecked himself.
Oh, wow. They're all loose.
4 to go.
More movement in the midfield I'm noticing on the pylon. A lot of movement. Holy cow, they're fanned out.
That
4
Denny
wide,
Hamlin?
back like 4
Man, I'm
rows.
just sad Daniel Suarez ain't there because this was when he made his move last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although you got
That was a
two Hendrick Chevys.
picture perfect finish.
Oh,
Oh,
someone's on the wall.
Oh, who's
That's Denny.
That's Denny Hamlin.
And that wasn't a yellow.
He's out. Up and out of the wall.
3 to go.
Seabass,
Cendric is out far.
your
Oh,
man's in
crap.
10th.
Hendrick's
You think he
got
can
2 of
make a
them.
run?
If there's
coming
like
in on the
something,
outside? Oh, here comes- that's
only if
Blaney.
there's a caution.
That's Blaney down
Right
there,
there, down
Hocevar
there.
in the
Yeah,
77.
Hocevar.
Oh, they're wrecking. Back off, back off, back off.
Cendric and
Wow.
Byron.
All right, look at who's in the top 10 though. Look who's in the top 10 now. Van
Chastain.
Gisbergen and Busch are back.
Okay, Chastain did a good job avoiding that.
Well, at least we don't have to
Wow.
go another week with Byron
Well,
winning.
guess Byron's not getting a 3-peat.
No more
Just
back to
like
back.
the-
No more back to
Just
back.
like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Welcome to the Let's Go Racing Family podcast, sharing our love for NASCAR, running, and just racing through life.
Hosted by Sebastian, Giovanni, Karen, Tony, and me, Johan.
Each week, we'll talk about our view of the world through the lens of racing.
Let's Go Racing Family here after that crazy crash. We're now going into overtime. And let's just say, is everybody ready for this, or are we all stressed out?
I think we're all stressed
It's
out.
going to be hectic.
So who's on the front row?
We got Chastain, Larson, Chastain, Bell, Hocevar, Stenhouse, and Barry, Hamlin, Blaney, Wallace, and Busch are top 10.
So Wallace and Busch. Okay.
Like I said, I think none of the drivers are going to be happy that Hocevar is up there, considering
I like
he's been turning people and wrecking them and pissing Kyle Busch off.
I feel like there's probably going to be another wreck before you get to the finish line, and it probably will involve the 47.
So
I just realized he's up
I
there.
agree and disagree
up
with you.
there.
I do think there's going to be another wreck, but I think it's going to be after they take
The white.
the white flag, which means they'll
Here we go,
either
under the
end
light.
I don't know. The last couple,
In
the
a
Xfinity
caution,
race, they let him run to the
or
line
maybe
green.
they'll let them run
Yeah,
to the
that's what I'm
end.
hoping.
They did it at the
doesn't end under
500.
the
Here we
go.
Here we go. Under the lights.
Oh boy, here we go.
Green, white checker.
All right. My money's on.
All right, my money's
Chase
on
Chastain.
My money's
I don't
on
even
the
know who to put my
47
money on.
taking someone out.
My money is on Wallace, honestly.
That'd be pretty cool. I can see like the first
Although it's
11 cars wrecking, and then the guy in
it's
12th
about who gets
coming
a better
through.
push. If Hocevar can push
particular
or
reason.
Bell can push.
That outside line is going to move. Here it is.
Oh, yeah, they're pushing.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Chastain's
Chastain's
blocking.
loose.
Oh,
Chastain.
he's
It's
lost
Hocevar.
it.
It's
As much as
Hocevar.
I
He
love
got
Hocevar,
moved out
As
of
much
the
as I
way.
love Hocevar is not a reliable pusher.
He moved his teammate out of the way.
No, he's not teammates with the 77.
It's Chevy teammates. Come on, Bell.
Wow,
Oh,
Chastain's gone.
Wow. Unless anybody
Oh!
lines up with him.
Oh!
Oh, there goes
Oh,
Joey.
wow.
Joey's lining up behind Chastain.
Come on, Bell.
Oh my
Blaney.
god.
Oh, wow.
Holy
We're at
cow.
white flag.
Larson.
The 77's
Blaney's coming.
got to run.
Wow.
Come on,
Here
Hocevar.
goes. He's-
Hocevar.
Checkers or wreckers?
Oh my
he
god.
is bumping.
Oh.
He's trying to
Come on,
slow you.
Hocevar.
Hocevar's gonna wreck him. No!
Oh,
Bell won.
my goodness
Bell won. Bell won. Bell won.
gracious.
Bell won. Bell won. Bell won. Bell won.
Oh.
They called a
They
caution.
called a caution.
Yeah. Bell won the race.
Wow.
Bell won the race.
my
I told you Bell won.
NASCAR. What is
Dude,
that?
come on. You let Xfinity run to the line yesterday. What's going
Well,
on?
it kind of depends on how far.
Oh, I think Shane wrecked. I saw him.
Hold on.
tumbling the
They're
order.
still saying that they're.
They said something about the restart. Somebody jumped it.
if Bell jumped it, then Hocevar wins.
No, Bell couldn't have jumped it. He was too far back. Yeah, see, Bell won.
You think it's Bell? It's
That's
obviously
pretty
Bell.
obvious.
If Bell jumped,
No, Bell wasn't in the front. He couldn't have jumped.
Oh,
Unless
okay.
he dove out to the outside line too early, which I don't think I
Wow,
saw him do
darn
that.
it. Hocevar
Bell won.
wins this race in NASCAR, doesn't throw a caution.
Dude, Hocevar was a wrecking ball there.
You
He
gotta
was
be
about to wreck
kidding
everybody.
me. No, he made a genius move. He was shoving him.
Shoving does not constitute
So
as
where's the
genius move.
caution? Can we
You
get a
were pushing
replay of
because
You
where
gotta
that
be
caution
you gotta be
was?
selfish. You're not working with teammates and be like, I'm just gonna push you to win.
Well, honestly, I wasn't expecting Bell to win. He's he's very quiet at these plate tracks.
Yeah, he doesn't even like plate
I'll be
tracks or
honest.
super speedways.
I didn't even realize that was him that was up there when they took the green-white
Yep,
checker.
he won.
That's so annoying.
Wow.
OMG.
It is frustrating when they can't just let him finish the race.
I think it would have been really cool to see another
Yeah, but
3
it
wide
it's
to the
also
line
so
there.
anticlimactic for the winner too. It's like, oh, wow,
It's like, oh wow, I won the race a whole
but-
mile and a half before
But
the
okay,
line.
so play it out. They ran to the finish, and if I remember correctly, I think Bell still would have
But
won.
no, but at that point,
They just let
when the
out.
caution comes out, the protocol for NASCAR is you have to maintain your position. The only way you can lose the race is if the guy in front of you runs out of gas, and then you're allowed to pass him because he can't accelerate any further. So then under a yellow, the lead can swap. But as soon as the caution comes out, they're all frozen. They all lifted at that point. I guarantee you, none of them were
All
full
right,
throttle.
I see
Hocevar
that.
had the momentum. He would
yeah,
have won
I was
this
gonna
race.
say they all three. I actually thought it was gonna be another similar finish to last year's.
But no.
It looked
where
like
it was the three of them were going to come really close to the finish line. But yeah, you could tell that the other two lifted a bit when because I'm sure their spotters were like, caution's out, caution's out.
No, yeah. But here's the thing. If there was no caution, you see Hocevar has the momentum. He cuts in. He's either going to spin Bell or he's going to stick
I
his
mean,
nose,
to be honest, I
which
thought
Hocevar was gonna do.
it would be a clean finish like last year's too. All three of them had enough space to go straight through the finish line.
Deckham Ross.
Chastain
Deckham
is-
Ross.
Chastain is talking to Hocevar.
Oh my! I'm actually
He is
so
not
mad.
pleased.
I'm.
So they're not teammates. Sorry,
They're not
I was
teammates,
thinking
no.
of a couple years ago, but still,
They were
he
teammates
was,
a year ago?
2 years ago, right?
No. Well, Spire had an alliance with Trackhouse. Same
Okay,
with
so
Colleague.
that's what I mean.
But then it kind of fell through, so they're not really aligned anymore.
But the point is there was a couple of years ago that you could argue that Chastain and Trackhouse were like mentors and supporters of Hocevar. That's how we met Hocevar.
Yeah, he was at the Trackhouse
because
truck.
we were at the Trackhouse truck, and we were looking for Chastain and Suarez, and Hocevar was there because he is connected to them. So my point is, they're kind of like mentors, and he kind of screwed him over on that last lap and pushed him out of the way last lap.
But you got to be selfish. You're not helping people.
But
To an extent, I agree, but at the same time, he pretty much threw his like only help out the way. Like literally threw him out, and Chastain just got lost, and then he was just around Fords and Toyotas, with the only one being Larson, who's not going to help him.
So
I
mad,
would
though.
love to hear what they're saying right now.
He's
While
clearly
Bell is
upset.
celebrating, they're showing a side-by-side of
Here's the replay.
Hocevar and Chastain.
I mean, look, he's just moving people out of the way.
Yeah,
look, he just
Yeah.
runs the 21 up the
I
track.
think that's what Chastain's upset about.
Chastain's not even there.
These
No,
two
this
were
is
just
the
racing
last
hard. I
lap.
was really happy with how Larson and Bell are racing one
Those
another.
are good drivers. And then
And
look
look,
at him. He gets a
just
run.
continues
Beautiful
to just,
run.
He just continues to turn. And look, he's turning down on the Larson.
Yeah, but
Turns
Look at
Larson
this.
again.
He has the momentum. You guys. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Okay, look, no, because realistically, Bell would have gotten a side draft here off.
yeah.
No. Hocevar
That
gets.
or the 77 would have gone
Yeah,
too
but-
far up and wrecked
And
the
wrecked
race.
him, and then Larson
this
would have
is
won.
what Chastain's upset about.
And look,
He got bumped.
he got
out
wrecked.
Of
Ah,
his
the 88
line.
did get wrecked.
It was on the back
Wait,
stretch.
maybe? Yes? No?
So
Oh,
that
oh,
right there did
oh.
not involve Hocevar. It just so happens that
Oh.
because Hocevar let Chastain left them out to dry, he ended up having
Yeah.
to fall back.
Yeah, and that's what
I
he's
don't get
upset
why-
I
about.
still think they
Why are
could have
y'all
let
not-
them run to the line. That was like going into turn 3
88
and 4.
saved it.
and it
If
wasn't
they-
even that bad of a crash.
Oh,
Oh,
look.
now
Blaney's mad at
talking to
what?
him.
They're all lining up. Watch, Kyle Busch is going to be next.
is
They're
this,
all
the
lining
meeting
up
green?
in the
Hold on.
queue.
What is Blaney saying? Why do you think Blaney was
Because
upset?
Blaney, he got wrecked.
Earlier.
Blaney he was
Oh, he
wrecked by
got wrecked.
Hocevar.
I
That's
don't
why
know.
he
I
ended
was
up in
blaming it
20th
on-
and had to work his way back up. So
I blame
incredible
it on
job by
Blaney.
So
Blaney.
what's
But
going to end
That's
up
Blaney.
happening is
That's a Blaney
Hendrick
thing.
is going to call Hocevar. What car does he drive for?
Spire.
Oh, Chevy.
All right, well, yeah, Chevy. Sorry, that's what you meant. Here comes Kyle Busch. Watch, he's gonna line him up.
Is the meet and greet
Is
for
Kyle
Hocevar?
Busch upset next?
Oh,
He
he
was
was
upset.
with
He
him
was
at the
he
beginning
was
of the race.
swearing on the radio earlier. It
man.
was I told you, Hocevar was pissing a lot of people off.
I
Wait,
don't get
so
why
listen,
you're mad at
listen.
Hocevar.
I don't disagree that when you're racing, you're out there for yourself. But there's a way to race. Hocevar just created a bunch of upset competitors that he's going to have to deal with.
I mean, think about it. This is
And
the
they're not
second
gonna
race
give
of the
him
season.
Any
But you got to do what you got
relief.
to.
This is the second race of the season. We're going to a road course where Hocevar is also notorious for not being very good and just plowing people over. There was last year at the Roval with the new reconfiguration in turn 7. I remember he dive bomb and took out Van Gisbergen. I think he also took out Larson. Or no, he didn't hit Larson. He hit another Hendrick car. He took out a couple of 2311 cars. I think he was hitting a lot of people at the Roval. And he's been known to like wreck people and intentionally cause wrecks and just be an overly aggressive driver. And especially at a point like this, where the season literally just started,
Yeah. You can't.
way too
This
much,
is the
dude.
NASCAR Cup Series. You're only gonna get so many opportunities to win, and you got to make the most out of it.
You're not wrong.
But
And
what was Hocevar
yeah.
supposed to do? Just when you got that run, either you go down and wreck yourself,
Once he
or
got
you just
the
shove Bell.
Well, once he got the run, okay. But the fact is, he left a mentor, teammate, former teammate, whatever you want to call it,
Out
to
to
dry.
dry.
And it messed up his day and a bunch of other drivers because he basically got shuffled off. And you know, in these super speedway tracks, how important it is that you stay in the line. So that messed him up. And then you had,
Especially at a track like this where the airflow and the way the draft works is completely different from the other two. I mean, we're talking about only a mile and a half compared to Daytona and Talladega being 2.5 miles. Or a little bit more for Dega. So like the flow of the track is different. Like normally at Daytona you can kind of side draft and hold on a little bit, but you saw just how quickly Chastain got thrown to the back. Hocevar completely screwed over Chastain there.
and he was overly aggressive. Like there is no reason for him the way that he bumped Bell on that last lap.
And then turned down in the Larson.
And
You don't lift. You don't lift, and you don't lift.
I don't know, man.
This is the last lap.
I'm telling you, Johan, I think it would have been a lot smarter if he just tried to wait until, because he was going to get the momentum, and Blaney was already backing off, which means he would have been open to cut down under and would have had a much
But
better run to
Larson
the
would have
end.
blocked, and you're not going to get a run that late.
He also did back up the entire line to cause that wreck that cost the caution.
And Mom was talking about how this was going to almost be a finish like last year. You go back to last year, they weren't doing this. Kyle Busch was going through the middle. He wasn't like ramming his car into
they gave
Suarez
each other.
or
They gave
Blaney.
each other like just enough room where there was just air, and it was just the three of them going at it to the line.
Well,
This
I
one
don't
was
see,
different.
I
Hocevar
didn't
was just a
see
wrecking
anything
ball.
wrong with that last bump to
On Bell?
on Bell. He had momentum and he pushed him. I mean, we're talking
that
about
was
this.
a hard
Atlanta
push.
is a mini super speedway. It's so when you have the speed in the draft, they push each other.
I don't
forward.
know. I don't know, Mom. That
if you
push
guys
at the
don't
end,
like that racing, just don't watch it. Kyle Busch.
that push at the end looked like a bump and run type of push. Like, I'm going to hit you, and hopefully you slide up out of my way. That's what that looked like. He was just moving him. He was.
So you're just gonna settle down and just let Bell or Larson
No.
win?
I'm not going to settle
Well, he
down,
didn't
but
have
there's a
anywhere-
difference
he
between.
didn't have anywhere to go up. They were both running on at the top.
Either way, my whole point with Hocevar being a wrecking ball the whole race didn't have to just do with that one bump. It was collective that he did throughout the whole race, and
The Blaney-
especially on that last restart, just pushing and shoving and throwing people out of the way. Like that's what it looked like. It was really just. The word I used last week was sloppy. It's like sloppy racing.
I will also say
But it's
I
good.
agree with you that I bet you he was thinking the same thing. I'm only going to have so many of these chances. I mean, think about it. Last year, how many races did Suarez win?
One. That
It was
race.
this one. And he had a very successful year and made the playoffs and all that stuff. But this was what kind of catapulted that. It was up and down, but you could say last year was successful because he got that one win. Hocevar gets a win. He's in the playoffs. The narrative is completely different. So, I mean, I get it. When you're there, you got to push. I don't know, man. We're going to see it play out. We're going to see it play out this season.
I definitely expect next week, especially that being Coda, and we've seen some chaos at Coda. Oh Lord, I can just imagine it already, like pushing and shoving on that track. What?
Are they running the same road course?
I think it's slightly modified from last year, but either way, oh,
There he
There he is getting
So they're
interviewed.
interviewing Hocevar, so we can't listen to it live, but we're going to listen and then we'll talk about it.
All right, so we just saw the interview of Carson Hocevar, and he did say that this was one of the very few times that he's been in the front, and he was having this opportunity to be in the lead, and so he wanted to. He even said actually he pushed Christopher Bell so that he could kind of squeeze in between and fight for that win. But he also did apologize because they asked him, there was a long line of guys who were wanting to talk to you. He did apologize for his driving, and he did say that he has a lot to learn still, and he is still a young driver compared to some of these other guys that he was driving up in the front with.
So who did he actually apologize to? Let's just cut to that. Hendrick.
The big he was like, no.
Why do I bring that up?
Okay,
because what happened when Chastain did what he wasn't supposed to do? Hendrick came and talked to him, and then things changed a little bit, and Chastain backed it off. So I just think
Even
it's
if there is a
interesting.
NASCAR mafia,
he literally
Hendricks runs
called
the
out
whole
Mr.
thing.
Hendrick. Okay.
Even if I still don't think you should apologize because I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. I would wreck my mom to win a race.
You know she's sitting right next to you.
I know. I'm sorry, Mama. If
That's
you're
fine.
in front of me, I'm like not.
Hey, just know Mama
okay,
would
I
do the same
dump
thing.
you.
Wasn't it
But-
last year? Wasn't Carson the guy who tricked a bunch of drivers to vote for him in the All-Star race? Was that Hocevar?
Yeah, he used like a promotion thing.
I don't think anyone's voting for him. Any of the
No.
drivers will be voting for him this year. Okay, so yeah, I mean, what were you gonna say?
I
Dio?
was just gonna say, one, if there is a NASCAR mafia, Mr. Hendrick runs it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And two, I think it's just funny. He's like, who'd I screw over today? Bush, Blaney, the entire field. Oh, but I'm sorry, Mr. H. That's on me. I'm sorry, Mr. Hendricks. Can I please drive the 48 next year?
Well, yeah, because
come on.
because he took out.
Well, he took out a couple Hendrick cars. Now, does this Spire team, are they connected
Well, I know
in
they're
some
in-
way to Hendrick?
To an extent, I think so, because last year, do you remember when
I mean,
Corey
every
LaJoy?
Chevy driver is. But
Do you remember when Corey LaJoy got randomly swapped with Justin Haley
yeah.
out of the 7?
Yeah.
So a part of that, apparently, from what I heard, I don't remember it being confirmed or not, but the rumor was that had to do with Hendrick Motorsports basically pushing Haley into a Chevy car because they wanted him, and because LaJoy wasn't doing anything last year, they were like, get him out, put Haley in the car, and we're going to develop him with Spire and maybe replace Bowman or someone in the future. Basically, I think Hendrick is now in ties with Spire to some extent.
Okay.
So it could be. It could
So it
definitely
makes
be
sense.
that.
Yeah, they probably.
It makes sense. Well, Seabass, remember, was it how many years ago that we actually went to this track?
Yeah, it was like when they first redeveloped
Back
the
in
track
22, I think.
into the Super Speedway package. And we took a trip up there. Not only did we watch the race from the stands, but like the night or two before, we took our van. Was it the van at
Yeah,
the
the
time?
Dodge
Yeah.
Car- a
We had a
2014
van
Dodge
at the
Caravan.
And we
time.
got to drive on the track because NASCAR did the special promotion inviting people to come and drive on the track, and we got to do it. So we got to experience what it's like to be on this track in a Dodge van, which obviously wouldn't last that well against these stock cars, but
But
So
just being on the banking of this new configuration on the Atlanta Speedway was very fun, and it was very cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. I think I've had two regrets when we went. The first regret is related to the fact that we didn't get another car. We were in a minivan. I think if I had to do it all over again, maybe we would have brought another car. We have
Well, we were on a road trip, so that actually made that was the reason
We've done
why
a
we
road
had the
trip in
van.
other cars
I would
before.
have rented a really fast car so we could do that.
We're not on a
that's what I
Mustang.
meant. But the other regret that I have, and I know you guys gave me a hard time about it, they were very strict about not passing vehicles when you drove around the track. And they also were like, you can't go faster than, I forget, I think it was like 80 or something.
It was like 100. You couldn't go faster because we were doing 80.
Well,
and
we
we
got
kept
up
telling
to 80,
you.
and the reason was
We kept
because
telling you,
the
"Go faster,
car
go
in front
faster."
of us got nervous because, again, what was amazing is you drive on this track and you drive up the banking. And if you're not used to that, it is a little nerve-wracking when you approach banking for the first time and the road goes like that. You need to step on the gas, and the guy in front of us got nervous and basically peeled off and slowed down. and the rest of the family was like, go, 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 go. So we went. We had nobody in front of us, and so we really could have gone up a little faster. But the last thing I wanted to do was on the opening weekend of the new repaved track be in the news because a minivan lost control.
Breaking news.
And
family
wrecked
lost
into,
control
turn
on
4.
reconfigured Atlanta.
But it was pretty cool.
Very, very cool. And let me just say one thing about the new reconfiguring of Atlanta. Atlanta was a all right track in the past. I know it had a lot of great stories and a lot of history. I mean, you had Harvick getting his first win.
I think that was more
after Earnhardt.
emotional. That was a more emotional
There
type
was
of
also-
win
okay.
because of Dale Sr. passing away. But I don't have very strong, fond memories of Atlanta.
There was
until
also
they
Edwards hunting down
until they reconfigured
Johnson.
it.
I don't know. I look.
It's
I mean,
personally nostalgic.
And that was one of the
for
tracks that
me
we
and
went
Gio.
to
Yeah.
a few times.
That was our
and-
first race track, Gio,
Yeah.
that we saw a race at.
There's been, and maybe that's it, is emotion. There is a lot of nostalgia for me. Even the prepay. I like the new repaved reconfiguration because I do like this speedway driving. I think some people don't like it, but I like it. I
The
know we all
racing is
like
more
it.
exciting.
I think so. So
It
I
honestly,
agree with that.
It feels faster too. Like I know
It is faster.
It is.
Not
yeah.
not
With
not
the
just in
banking,
it.
you could go almost full throttle all the way around.
And I don't mean that like literally. Like obviously it's gonna be faster. You're going basically flat out the entire time.
Yeah.
And if these cars had more horsepower, they'd be even going faster. Like, can you imagine them doing 200 on this thing?
I mean, they get pretty
They
darn
only
close
did,
to
like,
it.
It's
180,
so much
190.
more competitive than the old Atlanta.
It is, and
But there were some great races, and again, maybe it's nostalgia, but it was after a caution where the pack kind of came back together. The thing about this kind of racing is
there is
you
a pack.
You have all the cars were pretty much close. They don't get strung out, and that's why it was pretty boring. It felt pretty boring. But I remember watching when I was younger, Dale Earnhardt winning on a last lap. And then, of course, Harvick in 2001.
And there was
which
also the
historic.
Edwards. It was at Atlanta, right? Edwards on Johnson.
But I think all of those races had either a late caution or something that kind of brought everyone back together, and that's why it had a finish. Whereas this, even if it had gone green, you would have had racing, which I think is what Mom's trying to say, is that it would have been competitive.
Oh no,
and
for sure. I
fast.
mean, with the way this race was ending and the way the other races have ended, it's been really really close, even running green. But yeah, no, I think this has been one of the best things NASCAR's done lately with tracks. I know people were a little bit, oh great, another draft track, but the nice thing about Atlanta too is the style of racing is completely different from Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, from Talladega and Daytona. It's more fanned out, and handling is very important here. It's more technical than the other two. And honestly, I think a lot less, what some people would say, luck-based. Like, this track is just it's very fun to watch. And, I mean, even doing it on iRacing is a lot of fun. I mean, no matter the car, I've driven it in the ARCA car, in the truck, in the Cup car on iRacing, and all three have been incredibly fun. It's a really, really cool track, and just kind of finding your groove and the flow of it and everything has been great. And I think all of them have been really, really good. Especially this weekend, too. Truck Series had a really, really fun race towards the end, or actually through the whole thing, and then towards the end, you had one of the closest finishes in Truck Series history with Kyle Busch just edging out Stuart Friesen.
Yeah.
Leon. That was really close. Xfinity was pretty good, and then Austin Hill won, so that ended that way. And then Cup, again, just really, really good. I gotta say, I liked it better than the 500.
Had they not had a late caution, or that caution, and they just let them run, the cars were almost going to finish 3 across, like they've done in the past, which is kind of amazing. All that racing, and you come down to such a close finish. So, yeah, this was a little bit more exciting. I don't know. I mean, the 500 is the 500, so
I don't know. I mean, just you can say that about anything, but I mean, I don't know. I think taking the prestige away from the 500 and putting this race next to it, this one was miles entertaining, miles better on the entertainment spectrum.
Do they run the same package?
Who?
Daytona and Atlanta?
I
Very
think so.
similar packages. I know that. Very similar.
Well, so what did you think?
I think I enjoyed it. I feel like Atlanta has become a staple of this sport thanks to the repackaging. While I will say NASCAR continues its inconsistency with the cautions like we talked about last week.
Do you let them run to the
I would have let them run. They could have.
It was all the wrecking in the back too, and
in back towards 3 and 4. They could have crossed the line and then slowed down before
I was gonna
they
say
got
let
to the
them
wreck.
let them cross the finish line, then throw the caution out, because as soon as the caution's out, they have to lay off of and slow down. So just let them finish.
It doesn't seem like that hard of a rule. If the drivers that are running to the checkered flag have clear track in
space.
front of them,
Yep.
let them go.
let them finish. Yeah, I don't know.
If they were the cause of the wreck, and then okay, you throw the caution. But if they can get through it, which they did, I do agree. Let them go to the finish.
Going back to like again the inconsistency thing you said, Sebastian. Looking back, duel number 1, I think it was. Yeah, duel number 1 ended under caution with the wreck happening miles behind the leaders, and Eric Jones.
You're talking about the races last week.
Yes, last week they had duel 2. It was duel 2. Yeah. Okay, so duel 2 had to end with the leaders miles behind, or miles ahead of the wreck, and Jones had to forfeit the win back to Cindric. Then you go to the 500, where they were wrecking, and believe it or not, even though it looked like they were going slow, Reddick and Johnson still could have caught the 24 because they were all flat out, and they never called the caution there. Go yesterday to the Xfinity race. They crashed on the backstretch. Austin Hill got to run to the line until it was green, and that the race ended the way it did. Almirola and Allgaier were just pushing each other towards the end, but that one finished under green. Today they wrecked on the backstretch going into 4, and the leaders were miles ahead in turn 3 and 4 basically. NASCAR called the caution, and Bell got the win. So you got to pick: are you going to be consistent with it, and are you going to let them run to the line if the track is clear ahead of them? Or are you going to just call the caution and let it happen? If not, bring back the rule from a couple years ago,
they need
where
to be consistent
even
one
on the
way or
white flag
another.
you can restart. Because you got to pick one or the other. You're not letting drivers finish the race they should.
Yeah, I agree. I think consistency. Be consistent. Come out and say it ahead of time. If there's if drivers are clear in front, let them run to the finish. If not, or if there's any kind of caution, that's it. Or if there's any kind of wreck, we're calling a caution after that white flag.
I will say if the caution stuff happens on the 2 super speedway style tracks, I feel like NASCAR isn't going to deal with this unless there's we go to COTA next week and then they end the race with a caution.
The problem with saying that at COTA is because COTA and road courses in general are such big track, and especially like COTA, they have
so much
runoffs where you can basically crash and just end up in a gravel pit, and the race is 100, 200 feet away from you.
They like to let them run.
They'll let them run. I mean, I think about going back to when Chastain won in COTA. That was a really exciting race. Allmendinger got spun off into the end, or off into the gravel at the end of the race, and they let Chastain run. So road courses are different in that essence because they're much bigger, and you can fan out and have a wreck happen in turn 3 while the leaders are up in turn 13 at the track. So that's a little bit more dependent. I do agree with you though that I think if this starts to happen at other tracks where they're wrecking towards the final laps, then 100% they need to reconsider the rule. Either way, I think they need to reconsider the rule. It's definitely robbed us of some really good finishes going back to last season, seasons prior, and now tonight. Could have had a really cool 3-wide finish to the line.
Yeah, I think so. You're right about the road course thing, and I just hope that we do get some fun finishes that aren't trampled. Because we said it multiple times in this episode. We were this close to getting another 3-wide finish back-to-back years, but we'll see what NASCAR has for us this season.
All right. So as we wrap it up, Johan, who'd you pick to win this race?
I had Joey Logano.
And where did he finish?
He finished, I think, just outside the top 10, if not inside the top 10.
That's not too bad.
It's better than Kyle Busch to be DNFing and for the 500.
Well, what about Kyle Busch?
Where
did he finish?
He finished outside the top 10.
He did?
Yeah, he was around the top 10. He wasn't anywhere near winning that race because of all the chaos
You want to
that
know
was
why?
happening.
You want to know why? 2 names. Carson Hocevar. Prior to Blaney's
my
wreck, I'm not
hate.
joking. Go back and
The
watch the race.
hate.
Go back and watch the race. He moves Kyle Busch out of the
All right.
line, and Busch just
I
falls
will
back into the
say,
groove.
Carson
was
Hocevar
like-
is going to be a topic of conversation throughout the season. Well, we'll see. We'll see, right? Maybe he gets enough people.
I'm
talking
telling
on
you,
this week
Carson.
and
It's
he
gonna
backs
all
off,
season.
but-
It's gonna be Carson Hocevar did what?
Well, we'll see.
Oh boy.
Karen, where'd your guys finish? Ryan Blaney and
Brian Blaney, despite getting in that one incident towards the end, he moved his way up, so he clearly had a really fast car. He finished in the top 5, I believe.
SVG.
Yeah, and then he was gonna finish 11th.
No, but where'd he?
I think 18th from what I saw
Oh, okay.
because of
At
two
one
names,
point,
Carson
At one
Hocevar.
point, he was
Oh,
up
my.
he was leading.
Blaney finished
Yeah,
in
no,
the
no, no.
top 5.
Here's the example between a good teammate and
no shot.
a not a good partner.
No shot.
When Chastain was leading the race, you know who was pushing him and was throwing blocks, defending like an absolute legend? SVG. He's driven on this track like 2 times, and he's defending way better. He's not moving Chastain out of the way. Come on.
All right, and then
Because it was in the final lap.
Chase Elliott, he DNF'd,
Chase
right?
Elliott got dumped because of Ricky Spinhouse.
Right.
I still think it's somehow correlated to Hocevar. I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness.
Is this the new where it's everything?
No,
was
Kevin
Chastain's fault?
Harvick, that is not true.
We got Austin Dillon.
What's
we got
the
Ricky
Kevin Harvick
Stenhouse.
comment?
Kevin Harvick likes to blame other people who are in front of the wreck that's happening
No, that
for
was-
the wreck
that was
that
quite
is
funny.
happening.
That was
there
quite
was
funny.
2
It
or
was-
3 instances
He
today
blamed
where I was
Blaney for
just
the one
like,
earlier.
yeah, he blamed Blaney when Blaney and Bubba Wallace were like 3-4 cars ahead of where the incident was happening, and then he blamed somebody
He blamed
else
Suarez for Gibbs forcing a gap that wasn't there.
Yes, that was all Gibbs' fault. But yet last week, he totally defended Ricky Stenhouse when he was like giving no room to Joey Logano and blamed Joey Logano for that. I'm like, no.
Although, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I'll go back to my old point. We got Austin Dillon. We got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Is Hocevar going to join them as the third,
As checkers
the three
and records?
caballeros of
The
NASCAR?
The checkers and records.
records.
That's the
Three
checkers and
caballeros.
records club.
No, because Hocevar is actually
Hocevar,
has
Dillon.
swag.
All
Who
right,
else?
you know what? We'll have to see. This is Hocevar's
Stenhouse.
first year full-time, right?
No, this is second.
Second year full-time?
Yeah.
Okay, well, just like he said in his interview, he's used to always being in the back. So this is why he wasn't even a topic of discussion last
he could
year.
smell that checker flag.
This
He was
year,
like, I will get it.
he is racing
good
now
last
up
year.
the front, and so now we'll see how the season happens with.
I will give him some credit, though, because he jumped from trucks straight to Cup. And he has kind of floated, unlike some guys that trucks, Xfinity, Cup, and they fall back. He jumped the whole level, and he stayed at the top.
Carson's
pretty
gonna win 2
decently.
races
He's
this
not
year.
horrible. Does he
sorry.
make some poor choices? 100%.
Carson
Did you just say
Hocevar
2
is,
wins?
He's gonna get 2 wins. He's gonna win on a plate, and
Kyle
he's gonna win a
Busch
gateway.
did not win one race
Crazy.
last year. One of the greatest drivers of all time. And you say Hocevar is going to win. 2?
Yep, gateway and
right.
gateway in Atlanta too.
Okay, well, you heard it here.
I debated whether or not we're going to do this, but when we edit the podcast, we're going to throw up a picture of you meeting one Carson Hocevar, which may explain this fandom that you have for him. Now, he's not your favorite driver, but
He's definitely in the top
in your top 3. All right.
I think Johan's got a thing for guys that are just up front, because last week it was Bayer, and this week it's Hocevar.
No, I love Hocevar though.
I know.
follow
He does like Hocevar. Hocevar, you got at least one defender here.
Hey, maybe you can
One
redeem
fan.
yourself. Maybe you can redeem yourself, Hocevar.
Redeem.
You
That's
were
what
really,
I said.
you were
That's
really
what I
cool.
said.
Nothing to redeem
Let's
himself
see
with.
what happens the rest of the season, guys. We're like, jumping on him over one race.
All right.
You know what? If he takes out Ricky Stenhouse or Austin Dillon at a plate track and doesn't manage to wreck the field, you're good in my book.
All right. On that note, Giovanni, why don't you take us out?
Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening on in. Make sure to check out all of our socials, and make sure to also check out on the NASCAR season. It's looking to be a good one. But with that, let's go Racing Family out.